feel free, Nutella, to step up and speak if you would like to speak.
Me, Apple Crisp, that's speaking,
Oh,
or Nutella. Yeah, he wasn't able to, he's traveling to Holland today, so.
No problem. I'll go ahead and step back, and thank you, Apple Crisp, for everything that you do. You actually help us quite a bit as well.
Yeah, sure, you're welcome. Happy to help out. Like, it definitely, like, what we're sort of, what Nutella was doing initially too was like, we're just trying to help add value in any way that we can. So like, like Nutella was looking at initially like doing, last week he was talking about doing transcribing, and for like taking like our Hangouts, or let's say someone that does a video blog, and using YouTube and looking at all the other different services like the IBM Watson, and they also have this other service that's out in San Francisco called Pop-Up Archive. And so having like the machine or the computers do a little bit of the automatic transcription, and then see how much work it would need to get done in order to help clean things up. So it's definitely like another way to help add value to the content that's created. So like for our Hangouts, like we thought that having transcriptions of them would also be helpful, because it's good for, if we do post them and then also post the transcript, like it makes it a lot easier to be like machine searchable by Google and things like that. So, like one of our visions is like when anyone that's just doing a blog or vlog, their content would be more easily searchable, and then people find them when they're looking up a certain subject or something like that.
So they're trying to make it so it's easier to search content across platforms, or just on one?
Sorry. Yeah, actually, that was like initially Nutella's like idea, or for what the reason why he was doing some of this transcribing of all of the audio content. But so his conversation with Dissent was looking, and he did talk a little bit about with the guy there about the graphene blockchain. And so the one good thing is that they are, they're not unfortunately promoting being on graphene that much right now, but they are very open to having things be built on top of the platform. Some of the things that they're, I think, focusing on right now is they're trying to make a digital, work on the reputation system, as well as like a digital fingerprinting for digital assets.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so they're trying to do that, so it makes it easier for, through the reputation system, you're trusting who the author is, and then by also digitally fingerprinting the asset, just in case if it's not just on the Dissent blockchain, it's found somewhere else, then you would know that it's really from the right source. He did talk about with him, one of the things about Steemit is right now we just have that 7-day window for author rewards, and then I guess like people like Alex had made a little Tapper Monkey script that I started using too. That it'll tell you if there's still a comment by the author in order for you to be able to upvote, in order to be able to still reward the author. But Dissent is doing it like a different way, because there's no limitation on the time for author rewards or the content creator when they put up stuff.
It would be very interesting to see. Is he trying to build this himself too, or because what I'm thinking right now, and I hate to let Precise's project bleed.
Oh yeah, actually, we wanted to sort of talk together. Yeah, so feel free to .
And really quickly, one question that I do want to ask, and I would like to fit it in somewhere, whether it's toward the beginning or toward the end, but how would BeyondBits help with this?
Actually, we didn't have that. I didn't have that discussion with Nutella, but I did notice that Nutella was using the BeyondBits that he got to just using them sparingly at first. I guess we're still in the development stage of just helping utilize technology in order to help add value to different people's posts, or help add value to the searchability of audio content, video content. So we're still just using them sparingly, and then we do want to help encourage other people that are also working in the same area.
Do you know if there's an answer, or do you have an answer to Steam's question? He says here, though content is time limited as it costs decent fees to host for a long time. I would assume that as more and more content stacks up, and this is kind of where I'm thinking, coming from the standpoint of somebody who I use SoundCloud, for instance. whenever we use SoundCloud, as we build up more and more content, hosting it will just become more and more expensive, almost like an exponential type of thing, right?
Yeah, then I guess
I'm just kind of curious about the economics of that, and I'd be interested to see what the response is, or what if if there's an answer right now.
Yeah, he didn't post that. I don't think he might not have asked that question. But yeah, like it's definitely something that's, because I guess there's, hopefully like we were talking about before, like doing merged, let's say, we could do like maybe merged hosting, and it could maybe be on maybe different blockchains. So let's say if someone is looking at some content, maybe hopefully dynamically in the future, that we'll be able to say, okay, right now, like library is cheaper, and so we'll be able to host the content over there, and then versus, there might be some other blockchains too, or some other future way for us to be able to sort of dynamically host stuff. So like one blockchain doesn't have to get bogged down by holding everything. Yeah.
That's kind of what we're looking at too, and I'm very interested to explore some of this stuff with you guys. The reason why I want to know about how the BeyondBits would be used is because that's one of the things that we're focusing on a lot right now, is enabling many blockchains to kind of compete for the users from one place, and to enable community leaders and people who like to build communities and their helpers to establish their own kind of like their own little fiefdoms, I guess you might call them. I don't know what you call them, but they're democracies, whatever they want to choose, really. But enable them to have those platforms where they can kind of plug and play with the other blockchains and earn somewhere else. So I'm very interested in working with you guys on that. I don't really take the angle of competing with Steem or Descent or any of that. Like you were kind of saying, like, leveraging all these blockchains is a value proposition you really can't lose on if you're helping your community to provide what they need with the blockchains.
Yeah, and I think it definitely benefits all of us to work collaboratively together. And, like all of the different blockchains are going to have different ways that they want to allocate their resources and computing power. And so, like, if it turns out that, right now there's like a little bit of a downtime on one, hopefully that means the price will be cheaper. So then it'll be, if someone does want to use bandwidth or IPFS storage space, that we'll be able to utilize the cheapest option. And then that'll also help keep that blockchain moving as well, or like keep it in use. So I think it just benefits all of us.
So are you helping them, Apple Crisp?
Yeah, so like I'm just helping Nutella right now, and we were just investigating other things. And so like one of his ideas was to talk to the Descent team to see sort of what their progress is, and like sort of how open they are to working jointly with other blockchains, or just what the type of things that they're building on top of their blockchain. And so I guess right now they seem to be very open to allowing developers to build on top of their blockchain. And then hopefully, I guess, because it is graphene, that some of our Steemit or Pure Plays or BitShares developers will be able to more easily build on top of theirs.
I will say, just for their benefit, to get the developers from our ecosystems interested in working on it, it would be very worth it for them to promote that they use graphene. Just something to relay to them, because it's almost like asking, can you build on our platform, when we don't acknowledge that you guys were some of the first people that were the first ones to make it possible, right? You just don't do that. I don't know if that's their intent, but I want to make sure that they're aware that it can come across that way. So if they want developers, and I want developers to work with that stuff too, these projects too, then that might be something to look into. And another thing I'd be interested in, and I don't know exactly what you're doing as far as helping, I might actually want you to answer that too. Actually, why don't you answer that first, and then I'll go into my next question, if you don't mind.
Actually, we were just like investigating like just what the different blockchains that were doing, handling content, media content, were doing. So we're just like doing the investigation process right now. I'm not a programmer myself, but I just do have ideas, and like I do like to look at the broad spectrum of things and stuff like that. And so and then like like in this instance, we're like sort of narrowing down to see exactly if they can, let's say, sort of do some of the things that sort of the Steem blockchain is sort of limited to? Can we help expand out? Because it is luckily a graphene blockchain also, and the author rewards are slightly different. So just like perhaps utilizing the easier way to collaborate with that blockchain because it's similar to our blockchain.
Yeah, I think that using these different blockchains, whenever they're based on the same consensus, then it can make it easier. I'm not sure as far as all the details with the languages they use and all that stuff, but I would be very interested. Maybe you'd be interested in if I put a bounty on bringing the Descent devs on to discuss some of these things with you guys in the next hangout. And maybe even they would be willing to give out some tokens to the people who are here in this hangout. I'm very interested, though, in seeing you guys move forward and what you're planning on doing and where you're going with it. I would definitely want to know a little bit more in terms of like the numbers that you guys are asking, how you would use Beyond Bits, if Beyond Bits are necessary. The Whaletank isn't necessarily just to get the Beyond Bits, but it's a heck of a value proposition if you're trying to build something, right?
Definitely.
So that would be another thing that I would love you guys to consider as you're working forward with this. But I would love if you could bring the Descent devs on too, just because, or somebody as a community representative from them. There's a lot of places where maybe we can work together. I think that if they come on and they talk a little bit about it too with the community, they might be able to give a little bit more of an idea as in terms of costs and things like that, and maybe answer some community questions and get some insight from the people who are here who kind of live and breathe in the graphene space since even before Descent existed. So
I'm sure it would be awesome to have that channel communication open because, I think they don't even realize that this humongous community of active graphene developers are here, or people that are interested in it, and so and the other thing about them is that I think they still have that humongous war chest from the ICO that they did a little while ago, and I think they're just spending conservatively, and so they definitely have the ability, or at least the funding, to be able to keep on building things. And so if we just help maybe focus them and see what they're doing, then I think we can probably work well together.
Well, we can go as far as to also say that, Steem can distribute large amounts of funding per year. BitShares has well over $100 million worth of reserve pool funds that can be used toward development of things. If Descent also has an ICO that, has a lot of funds that they earn from their ICO that they can use, that, they can all benefit, all these graphene chains can benefit by building common infrastructure that they all need. Maybe, for instance, there's a documentation effort between all graphene chains. Wouldn't that be amazing? So these are just things that I would love if you can help get this together and maybe reach out to them and keep me up to date. I would definitely reward anybody who pushes forward and helps us talk to them about some potential working together.
Yeah, I think Nutella wasn't able to do it immediately, but they did offer to have a meeting with him in person because I think they're pretty close geographically, so that'll be cool. And so he did take the opportunity though to do the telephone call, which was really great of them. But I think he also has that open invitation to be able to go visit them at their offices, and I'm sure we could approach them even before that point about coming on here.
Yeah, I'd like to see, because when CM Steam is bringing this stuff up, to my knowledge, and maybe CM Steam can say whether I'm right or wrong, but Gridcoin, I believe, rewards you Gridcoin for storing stuff. So you might actually be able to partner up with them in some way, in shape or form too. I don't know, but it'd be something that these are the types of things that we can explore.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, guys. Well, we are at about 11 seconds, so I'm going to just stop it before it ring-a-ling-a-lings on us. And I'll just say, if there's any way that people can reach out to you, Apple Crisp, if they want to help you with your endeavor that I'm trying to get you to bring somebody from the Descent team on, or any of the other things that you're doing, how would they reach you?
Actually, so I guess mostly probably Discord would be best, or on here. So Nutella, so I'm just Apple Crisp. It's the standard spelling of like the dessert, APPLE, crisp. And then Nutella is NUTELA, so just like one L. And he's also on Discord and on Steemit.
Thank you for joining up. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to say thank you to everybody who joins up to these Hangouts, promotes them. If you do promote them, if you are doing things that benefit our ecosystem, make sure to reach out to me and show me links on it along with your BitShares address, and I will consider giving out tokens to those people who are supporting things. I am powering down a little bit to reach the 300K level, and we will be moving those over into something called EOS bits at some point in time. But until then, we are going to continue the Whaletank here completely on Steem. And I'm also always going to try to continue supporting Steem as much as we possibly can, because it's one of the places that started it. And, it was launched here, so it's one of our historical little chains. But if we can create synergy between other chains that exist out there, that is something that we should be definitely considering. And if you have connections with these chains, please consider reaching out to them. I'll also say one final thing. Make sure to please consider upvoting and re-steaming our RSVP posts, sharing them on social media and to friends, because the sharing is how we spread the word of what we're doing in an organic way that actually has persisted quite well through a lot of storms and is continually growing, as you see. So I really appreciate everybody joining up. Please share this content organically, and please help us wherever you can, and leverage what we have to help you, because that's just as important as that you help yourself. So with that said, thank you everybody, and we will see you next Saturday for the Whaletank, and we will go ahead and we'll start the after party.